My name is Tatiana Hummel. I am the Associate Director for the MCiM program. The Masters in Clinical Informatics Management is a very unique program at Stanford. This program brings together the intersection of learning in healthcare, technology, and management. Our program is a one-year full-time master's degree designed to accommodate busy professionals and individuals of various backgrounds. Our goal is to bring together a cross-disciplinary cohort of students at different career stages. These students will enrich the experience in the classroom and help cultivate a supportive learning environment, culminating in the development of leaders who seek advanced access, equity, and inclusiveness in healthcare. This Meet the Experts event is called The Value of MCiM, Alumni Insights in Applying What They Learn in Business Technology and Healthcare. And this was designed with the special attendance of our MCiM alumni, and as well as an instructor sharing how they have translated their MCiM experience into a real-world impact, from clinical leadership to health tech startups and digital transformation roles. Whether you are considering applying or just curious about the program, this is a great chance to learn, ask questions, and connect. I'll be facilitating today's session, and we'll keep an eye on the time to ensure we have space for a Q&A at the end. But for now, please keep yourselves muted. As a reminder, these sessions will be recorded and distributed to all who have signed up for the session. So I would like to start by asking our panelists to introduce themselves. They will provide their current role if they're comfortable with that, year of graduation with MCiM, and what their background is. And I also would like then to answer the icebreaker question, which is, what do you miss the most about being an MCiM student? And let me start with Megan.
Thank you, Tatiana. Talk about breaking the ice, going first. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Meagan Moyer. I am a MCiM alum and also a co-instructor with MCiM now. So I've joined as faculty after I graduated in 2024. I co-instruct the practicum course along with Dr. Kavita Patel. My background, I currently work on Stanford Healthcare's digital healthcare integration team. I run a program called Emergency Medicine Virtual Care, where we leverage digital health technologies to improve throughput of patients coming to the ED and help avoid ED visits when necessary. I also, as I mentioned, also co-instruct within the practicum course. And for the icebreaker question, Tatiana, what I miss the most are the people, and more specifically, the conversations and the connections that we have with people. It's so wonderful, the curated people that come to the MCiM sessions and all the events. The staff works so hard. In fact, they work so hard to bring really intentional people to have conversations with us. And so I'd say that's what I miss the most.
Yeah, it's a short program, and we miss seeing your faces. Once you graduate, we move on to a new cohort really quickly, and it's always a shock when the new cohort comes in, how much we miss seeing her old cohort there. But we have these events, and we can see you again and again. Hiro, would like to go next?
Yeah, thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk. My name is Hiro Otake, and they call me Hiro. I graduated MCiM 2022. Amazingly, already 3 years has passed. And then my background is critical care physician in Japan. And then I introduced tele-ICU program first in Asia, probably 2016, and then that's get reimbursement in 2022 in Japan. So I walked through from the launch of the technology and then the get the reimbursement. And then the reason why I came to probably the MCiM is I would like to mix my experience into like a more transform into the knowledge or that applicable to the real world. And then what I miss most is probably riding a bike in entire campus. I was a first cohort member. So, fortunately or unfortunately, our class took place is everywhere in the entire campus for whole 3 years. So I was able to, biking around the entire campus of Stanford. That's a very large campus and beautiful, and that's experience I miss a lot.
It was a very different time that 5 years ago to what we're experiencing now. That's for sure. And it's it's so fun to have someone here from the first cohort that can share the differences of what was the program when we started and what is now. Rich, what would you like to share?
Sure. It's great to see everyone. Welcome. MCiM has been fantastic for me. My name is Rich Bailey, and I am the current Chief Information Officer for the County of San Mateo Health here in the Bay Area. I am the cohort that recently graduated, but I say 2025-ish because I am still partaking in some activities with TGR. So MCiM can't get rid of me quite yet. I have been in healthcare for the last 22 years, and the last 12 or so have been more around the EMR and digital transformation, which is what I started at County of San Mateo Health, which is where I was when I joined MCiM, actually. And I will say, MCiM definitely accelerated a lot of my network capabilities, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but it has been a really fantastic experience, quickest year of my life. But the icebreaker question, it's interesting because I know that the new cohort, I feel so quickly forgotten about, was on site last weekend. And I have a couple friends in that cohort. And I really found myself sad that I wasn't there. I wasn't able to go to, I frequently go to campus just because, but it's just so interesting to just how used you get to going on Friday and Saturday and getting to see everyone and just, having the meals together and walking around the beautiful campus. And now it just quickly goes away. So all the things that come with that, and Megan's point, the conversations and just catching up on everyone's life, because so much happens in 2 weeks. It's really just remarkable to see how many things change and happen. So
Yeah. We're very lucky. It's a beautiful campus and a beautiful location, and um, just having classes there and seeing everyone every week, it's just really a joy. So thank you everyone for sharing. So one of the things that I would like you to share with the students or people that are thinking about joining the program is, and I get asked this question a lot when I'm talking to prospective students, it's just, was there a moment like one, two concepts or a aha moment in the program that shifted how you think about healthcare innovation, that you were just something, if you could share that with them, that would be very helpful. And I don't want to call you by name, so whichever one of you that wants to go first, please go.
I'm happy to jump in first.
All right.
There's too many to count, to be honest, but I always joke that I have the memory of a carrot. So I'm going to go with the most recent aha moment, and that is our last quarter. Nigam Shah was one of our instructors, and he is one of the, or if not the main reason behind Chat EHR. And it was really incredible to see all the headlines breaking and all of the periodicals that I read, go to work and sit at the executive table trying to decide what we're going to do with AI, and then go into class and be lectured from the person who championed it, who is the AI expert in the area, I guess I'd say across the country, to really it really cemented like, oh my gosh, I'm literally in the heart of where it's being created, where it's being implemented, where it's directly being used to increase our patient care. It kind of takes your breath away, especially now in hindsight as well. And that's just one of many that happened throughout the entire year. There's just so many key instructors and courses that happen that it really cements a lot of these learnings, including a lot of the leadership classes with Frank's class. That is every single day that I do something at work. I'm like, well, Frank taught me to do that, and I'm glad that I had that class because I probably would not have handled that situation accurately had I not. So.
And it's a very interesting too, because you have those classes as the on your last quarter, and you ask yourself like, why didn't I have that on the first quarter? but we can't fit everything in the first quarter, unfortunately.
It's true.
Hiro, would you like to go next?
Yeah, it's actually that I almost, raised the example as Nigam Shah, but, Rich explained about. So I want to talk a little bit about like bioethical challenge of new technology. And then, David Magnus, he's a teacher of that, the subject, and then which covers all entire cohort. And then one of the questions we faced at the time, it's not an aha moment, but other critical care physician I almost have faced similar situation of bioethical dilemma of innovations. And then such as you have only one heart lung machine, which is called ECMO. However, you're going to have two patients in 2 hours. So how do you decide what is the like ethical logic to, you know, explain about? And then I was the critical care physician under the COVID at the time, right before the MCiM. And then fortunately, I did not face that problem, but that kind of, the real-time question. And then, of course, the COVID question is a very extreme example, but if you deal with digital innovation of healthcare, we will touch with some of the bright side as well as the dark side of innovation, including like a regulatory aspects or some of the like reimbursement aspects. So discussion through among other classmates from different perspectives. That kind of the lecture was so insightful, and of course sometimes we don't have like a concrete answer, but that kind of experience it's real, the benefit for me.
That's incredible, Hiro. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I can take a little bit of a broader view from Rich and Hiro's responses to my aha moment was, reflecting a bit on how I got to MCiM and my career path and my career journey. And like a lot of people who came to MCiM, they have a background that kind of has a well-defined path, right? If you're a physician or a nurse or an engineer or you work in business, that you probably, well, you definitely went to school for that and you training and there's core set curriculum that everyone does, right? And then you go out into the world and improve the world and work your magic, right? But my aha moment was when it comes to innovation in healthcare, forget what you know about that well-beaten path, that well-trodden path, because there is no well-beaten path. It's messy, it's complicated, it's a lot going on in a really big ecosystem, right? And so I think what I had to realize was I need to be comfortable with that messiness, comfortable with that not clear path in front of me like I had in my career up to this point. So that was an aha moment for me. And so, we hope you do, but if you choose to participate in MCiM, that is one piece of advice that I would give is embrace that messiness, embrace that discomfort that you might be feeling, because it actually produces some really, really good novel things. And that's truly what innovation is all about.
Thank you, Megan. Those are great answers, and I always love seeing what the cohort comes up with in the end of the year with the practicum, because that's where the brilliance shows, and that's for sure. That's my aha moment. Um, well, the next a question I want to just pose or just let you like think about or share with this group is, in this rapidly evolving landscape of business technology and healthcare, how do you think MCiM graduates are uniquely positioned to lead in this space? Any of you would like to share your thoughts on that?
Let me start first. And currently, maybe I should introduce by myself that like I'm working for several digital health startups right now, and then whenever I talk with the investors, and then amazingly like not all investors understand what the healthcare technology is, and then they of course they are very keen on focusing on the financial outcomes, but I can, not for my company, but I can sometimes, give some insight to them, how they will, whenever they ask me, how do you think about this technology or this, this therapeutic area, how to apply those technology, amazingly, what I learned from MCiM, and I can leverage those knowledge and then also the experience of other classmates, through the entire cohort. We had a conversation and then learn what the other classmates doing. Through those experience, I have several, not the concrete answer, but like I have several, answers to them. How do you think about this one? Or how about this approach to consider about, even though I'm asking the investors to get me investment, but sometimes I can, give them a sites, how to think about like a new technology, how to approach, the new AI, the solution for them. So that's I definitely see the asset of MCiM.
Yeah, I would say when I was considering participating in MCiM, what really got me to yes, as in submitting my application, was, I'd considered getting an MBA, considered getting a master's in healthcare administration. I previously have my master's in public health, but I kind of dragged my feet a little bit on those programs, and kind of hindsight, I realized it was because I hadn't found MCiM yet. It just felt so right because healthcare is my chosen field. It's my career, right? It's the career that I chose and the field in industry that I chose. And so what I really loved about MCiM is that everything that is discussed is within the context of healthcare, right? So certainly not, saying anything negative about an MBA program, a traditional MBA program, but I knew because healthcare was my chosen field, I wanted to be in a program that taught business from the healthcare lens, right? And so I knew I wanted that specialty. So that is incredibly unique for the MCiM program.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add to what Meagan was saying there too. I previously got a master's degree 10 years ago or so in something that I thought I was going to do the rest of my life, and I was misunderstanding myself at that point. And similar situation. Thankfully, I found the Stanford community through my partner, who was going to the School of Business, which I was considering until I saw his experience at the School of Business. I'm like, I'm in healthcare, not the right space for me, but this program definitely, it's very interesting because working in a health system, a safety net hospital in the neighboring county to Stanford, we really see a lot of evolving healthcare policy, how it directly affects our patients. We're in the middle of that industry curves and trends, but also when we're in class, we are literally talking with, Dr. Magnus, who sits on ethics boards, talking about the ethics and how it affects AI. And that is, I feel like every day I have at least 2 hours of meetings about how are we going to work with AI and not work with it, and what should we trust, and how should we build governance around it. All of these things take me back to the roundtable conversations we'd have in ethics class. From there to the leadership experience that we have, or even just the startups that we get to learn through the biodesign and through Dr. Schulman's class, you see a completely different side of technology that you don't get to see when you're in the industry, given some of the roles that we're in. And it really gives you an understanding and also an empathetic understanding of what it is like to be a technology developer and maker in the healthcare space, because it's difficult, and also gives you a little bit more opportunity to really make sure that you're working with the technology that is actually needed, that is safe for the patients. And then you have the resources. You go to class every 2 weeks. You literally can ask the people that are making the policy, that are making the softwares, and get direct answers that you would not have access to anywhere, even as a customer for some of these technologies. So it is every single week, I would say I leave class on Saturday and I apply everything on Monday. And it still continues to be that way now after graduating.
Yeah, and you still have access to the mentors and to her network and to us, anything you need, right? That's the beauty of the program as well. All right. So, what else I would like you to share with this group is, the MCiM program offers an exclusive network of mentors, faculties, and resources to its students, which we were just talking about. Can you share an example of how a connection or collaboration with the MCiM community led to a professional opportunity after graduation?
I can speak to that first. The biggest shift in my professional career is, as I mentioned during my introduction, after graduating, I joined the MCiM program as a faculty member and now co-instruct the practicum course. Absolutely would not have been able to do that if I had not been a student at MCiM, right? And so hands down would not be a possibility if I hadn't gone through the program. And I could just speak a little bit, more about that. It was an opportunity that I really didn't know I wanted before I went into the program, but I participated in a week-long summer graduate institute program that's open to all Stanford graduate students. It was called Designing Your Life course. It was a 1-week intensive course. And through that, I actually discovered my interest in teaching in higher level institutions. And so once I was nearing graduation, I started having conversations with the MCiM team, MCiM faculty, and our director to see if this might be a possibility for me to join, and we made it happen. So very excited to be continuing on in that capacity, and then just in my day-to-day role, just like Rich, absolutely +1 to that. I felt even more educated and empowered to add to the body of work that I'm doing in my day-to-day role. So absolutely feel those day in and day out as a result of the MCiM program.
Yeah, I wanna piggyback off what Meagan was saying, but also it's very interesting because on this call is one of the pivotal mentors that was actually part of my journey in Meagan, because I've been in healthcare for a long time and I started exploring in a startup on accident. And it's still something I'm working with my team, who is also part of the MCiM program in my cohort. And Meagan was amazing at connecting us to those resources, but also connecting the dots for me in yes, and you can do both and you can do all. And her journey ties to the biggest aha moment I had, which was when Stevie Eberly came to class and she became an instant mentor. I met with her every month, and she is the reason why I'm in the position I'm in today, because I started in a manager position in my current role. I wanted to be full-time in MCiM. She told me, you can have all of it. You can go to MCiM, you can tell them you want to be part-time, but you also want a promotion to director. I was like, I would never go in with that demand. So I went in with her advice. I got that part-time director role. And then 3 months later, got assistant chief information officer. And then 2 months ago, got the chief information officer. And that is because of those conversations and the inspiration of the two individuals that I just mentioned. It really is, you can't make this stuff up. I feel like it's like a movie. And that is the kind of magic that you see happening to almost everyone every single day. So it really is remarkable.
We all had faith in you, Rich. We knew you could do it.
Appreciate the support.
Yeah. So it's I wanna share my experience. Even after the graduation, I still have some personal connection with other classmates, not only in business aspects. Of course, it was very useful to leverage their knowledge, expertise. However, even personally, the family bonding, family gathering, since during the courses, our cohort had lots of like a family gathering. So I still have personal connection for several classmates. And then I had an opportunity to invite Kevin, the program director, to give a lecture to professional society too. So even after the graduation, I can leverage MCiM connection, but I want to add a little bit more about the value of the Stanford. It's not only the MCiM. If you be the student of Stanford, you can leverage more resource on the entire campus. And then not only School of Medicine, I had a privilege to go to like take a law school class and then still have connection with law school teachers or for example, and so on. There's so many resources around the Stanford network. And then if you go back to your field, the medicine or whatever the business, you can leverage those connection more and more. So that's like a privilege to be a students, 1 year students, but it's lifelong lasting relationship just started.
That's for sure, Hiro. I would like to also ask right now someone that just joined us to introduce herself. Mehak, if you could just tell this group of folks that are interested in the MCiM program, your current role, when you graduated from MCiM, your background, and answer her icebreaker question, which is, what do you miss the most about being an MCiM student?
Absolutely. First of all, I am so sorry, everyone. I hope you can hear and see me. I love to blame things on my toddler, and 99.9% of the time it's true. I have a 20-month-old baby, and I'm due to deliver my second baby very soon, and we had a little bit of a bedtime routine emergency, so I'm sorry I could not join on time. I really respect your time. It's 8:20 p.m. here, 8:30 now, so I apologize for joining late. I have a background in cardiology. I was in Boston for internal medicine cardiology, and then I went to UPMC for EP. And that's when I decided that I want to further get training in informatics and management. And I looked up which program is on campus and technically full-time, but you can do it with a full-time job. I was pregnant during MCiM. I delivered my son halfway through MCiM, so it really goes to show the yes and attitude that Rich has mentioned. And Megan, I think, she was my classmate, but she was still kind of a mentor at the same time because she was always so supportive and positive. Same with Kevin. So it was a very yes and environment, and because of the team and because of the support I had, I was able to complete the master's program while being pregnant and being an EP attending and all of those things at the same time. And I was doing T32 research at the same time. And what I miss most about MCiM is really the classroom. Being in class and having discussions in class is what I miss the most, to the point where Rich can attest to this. I crash class still. If I'm in town, I'll be like, Kevin, can I come to your class? And I just hang out because it's one of those things that it's like a fuel, and I can't speak to folks from other backgrounds, but at least as a physician, it's like a steroid shot. Like, it really reminds you of how much you can branch out and how many different areas you can work in and how much impact you can have, and the true value of a multidisciplinary learning process and a multidisciplinary team that you work with, because in each cohort you'll work with different people from different backgrounds. I cannot stress how important that is. When you come out of that environment, go back to your institution, like Hiro was mentioning, you just take on different roles and you are a different type of leader. You're no longer for me personally, I was no longer a meek voice that was like, may I say something while sticking to my lane. Now I feel a lot more confident leading projects and doing things that I would have never thought possible if I didn't learn from people who are on this call right now, from different backgrounds.
Fantastic. Do you want to make any comments on the question we were answering when you joined us about network and mentors and faculty? And if you have any examples to share about a connection or collaboration with the MCiM community that led to like a professional opportunity after graduation. if you have anything else to add to that.
For sure, for sure. I think everyone touched on really important points. For me, one of the things was just knowing who to contact and knowing that a barrier in one direction does not mean that the road is ended. There's other people from other departments that can collaborate on something that you may have not, when you have your clinician blinders on, you may not have thought about it. Connections through Kevin, I met a number of folks in the EP area and the cardiology area, all the way from new technology to generative AI companies to startups that I started advising. And even back at my institution, just having that, like Hiro was mentioning, having that connection with Kevin and being able to touch base with him and get his advice. I've been able to now lead, a Heart Rhythm Society study, which is like a national study on generative AI, a UPMC study on generative AI, not just from like a fully academic standpoint, but also, for example, the Heart Rhythm Society study, because of the knowledge and contacts I gained through MCiM, it's actually a both marketing and academic study. So that's something, that kind of project I would have never thought I have the ability to lead. Because I think Meagan and Rich will probably both attest to this, that when you're doing something that's multidisciplinary, one day you're a lawyer, another day you're a startup person, another day you're technical, another day you're academic. And if you have this holistic knowledge, you can really lead those things and be in those positions. So those examples definitely stand out for me. And then, of course, when it comes to job, I'm now currently in the process of considering whether I would want to do part-time EP and then join a startup, or if I join one of two major academic centers where one of them would have protected time for me to work with marketing and strategy, and the other one would have protected time for me working with informatics. I could never have imagined either of these careers without the support, the knowledge, and the contacts that I gained. And once you're part of Kevin's class, you're always part of Kevin's class. I constantly bug him and he'll get on the Zoom and be like, I thought you graduated. Like, you're never getting rid of me. So it's really like these are my people and they're never getting rid of me. And once you're part of this community, you're never getting rid of us either.
No, and we don't want you. We want to keep you all forever. I'll move on to the next question since we need to keep an eye on this time. To any of you would like to share, did the program help you pivot into a new industry role or accelerate it in your path in your existing field? That I feel like a lot of you have already kind of touched on that and answered that, but there are some examples that if you would like to share with this group, that would be fantastic. Meagan, I know that you might have something to share. If you want to go first. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, it's okay. No, I already mentioned, joining as faculty. Again, would not have happened if it weren't for participating, being a student in MCiM. Not so much a kind of pivoting, but I will say one of the reasons why I wanted to participate in MCiM is because I've only ever worked in academic medicine. And I really wanted to learn what it was like in industry on the other side, quote unquote. I also wanted more formal business knowledge and experience as well. And I will say that MCiM absolutely did that for me, right? I chose as my practicum project to partner with a fellow student to do a business plan for a startup, right? And that was something that I had never done before, and we had opportunities to pitch that startup at the GSB's, the Stanford Graduate Student School of Business, pitch days and demo days. And so I found myself in scenarios that, as a, academic medicine person, never would have thought of finding myself in. So I really sought out those opportunities to make myself a more well-rounded professional and give myself those opportunities that I wouldn't normally have had. So that's one of the ways that I look at MCiM, and to be quite honest, when I mentor the practicum or the students for the practicum course, I kind of find students into those two camps where they want to use the practicum and to explore areas that they're not familiar with and really kind of learn completely new things, or a second camp where they know their area of focus and they want to dig in deeper into that area of focus, or maybe in an innovative way in that area of focus. And both are great, right? And very, very welcomed, because it's really your experience and what you want to get out of it. So that sharing a little bit more about how I made myself more well-rounded intentionally as a result of the MCiM program.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Megan. Does anybody else want to share?
Maybe I can share. As I mentioned before, MCiM, I was a chairman of critical care and anesthesia department at Tokyo, Japan, and then the app was, currently I'm still living in Silicon Valley, even after the graduation of MCiM, which I never thought, even though remotely I'm working my past university as a professor of medical innovation, but mainly working for digital health startup here in Silicon Valley. And then I never dreamt of. And then in addition, not only working for my company, leveraging my the network through the MCiM, I and then a second cohort, Ethan Go, doing advisor for one of the a VC for healthcare VC focusing on digital health. So we sometimes meet together and then discuss about the new technology, and that kind of opportunity I never dreamt of before I came here. So the MCIM not only, the giving you a knowledge, but also the open up your opportunity. That's a very open society. So you can meet anybody if you want to meet. So that kind of extensive network, brought you a huge change of career. So.
All right, that's fantastic. I have one more question that I want to ask before I open up for questions, and we have some questions already popping up on the chat. But what advice would you give to someone trying to decide if now is the right time to pursue the MCiM program? What would you would you have liked to know before you apply, if you were looking back on the time when you joined the program?
I can speak to it from a cardiologist EP standpoint. It's 100% the right time to do it. In fact, when I did my cohort, I already felt like I was behind the 8 ball because of the acceleration that we're seeing with, as Meagan would say, all healthcare is digital health. So that term doesn't even make any sense anymore. But AI specifically in healthcare, it's important that folks who want to work at the intersection of clinical practice, informatics, and management, it is very important that we get engaged now. And the beauty of MCiM is that you will have people who are from all of those backgrounds and in a very nurturing, positive, yes, and optimistic environment. I remember the speech that Kevin gave at the end of our class at graduation was "The nation needs you," and I almost teared up, and it wasn't just because I was postpartum. And it was, and I would say the same thing, at the risk of sounding mushy. This is the right time for motivated people to say, we have to lean in, we have to take on the charge of working at that intersection so that we can translate the promise of AI and all digital health to outcomes. And you don't do that as a clinician alone. You don't do that as a technical person alone. You don't do that as a business person alone. You do it at that intersection. And so the time is now. And so timing wise, this is the perfect time to be involved in a program like this. And I have already started to reap the benefits of it. You may be, if anything, at the bleeding edge of this. So now as I'm looking for new career shapes and formats, you kind of have to pitch your case a little bit, but there's no big academic center that I've talked to during my job search where they didn't explicitly say, you are the type of person that we need in the future. And I think that you will all find that once you attend MCiM, that your prototype will be valued. And then you can go in any direction once you graduate from MCiM, but this is the right time because we need people who speak all 3 languages of medicine, informatics, and management, and can bring together teams to turn promise into value.
Well said.
Yeah, I will echo. There couldn't be a better time. I'm going to come from a safety net hospital where we have met 3 times this week as executives to rapidly respond to changing policy that's cutting all of our funding for some of our major undocumented immigrant populations here. If we don't have individuals who are passionate about healthcare, who are interested in protecting the American healthcare system that we know, I know a lot of people say healthcare is broken. I firmly disagree. There's some improvements that can be done, but we have a lot of passionate people who've really built this network and really worked hard to speak and have a voice for people who don't have that voice. And right now there is a major risk of a lot of those people losing that voice. So it's incredibly important that we have people who are attending universities such as Stanford and this fantastic program. It accelerates your career, but it also accelerates your knowledge, your network, and as well as your reach. You never know how you're going to be able to change someone else's life while you're changing your own. And there's never going to be a better time to be in healthcare right now. We're at a really monumental time in history, and it's really important that those that are passionate about healthcare really do something about it.
Yeah, it's can I add one aspect? Almost all all things you two already explained, but whenever you think, you want to have a change, or you think you're the time, which probably the reason why you attended this, Zoom seminar, and then that is a time for, it's a generally speaking, to change your career, or one step further, if you think of. So it's always now. I I changed my career quite often. I started my career in Japan, and then I had a medical training in the United States and Australia, and then got MBA and worked for McKinsey, and then coming back to Japan, and then became a professor, and then, but still, whenever you think, it's time to change, it's a time to change. So Stanford is not a bad place, and the MCiM is, I think, the best place in the Stanford. So, whenever you think of, you can step one step further, and that is the timing.
All right. If you don't have anything else to share, I would like to open for questions. We have some great questions on the chat, and I would like to start with the first one on the top. We have Darshana asking us, saying she's a full-time physician that would like to know if the feasibility of this course while maintaining a full-time job. And I think we have a couple physicians here who shared how they did, but if you could share a little bit more about, how you maintain your full-time job. And I believe all 4 of you work full-time while pursuing the program. So um, if you could share quickly your experience about that, that would be great.
Yeah, I love this yes and thread that keeps coming up during these responses. I really love it. I don't think I've ever heard that in that way before, but I'm definitely going to use it in the future. I'd say first and foremost, hands down, you have to, if you're working full time during this program, you absolutely have to, of course, have support from your leader, right? Because you will need to be flexible with your time, and they will need to be okay with you needing to be flexible with your time. But definitely expect long nights, long weekends, doing a lot of work on the non-business hours, doing work while you can. The plus side to that is, there definitely will be several others who are in the same boat as you if you're working full time, and they probably also work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And so what that means is we all just simply are flexible to when people are available. And so everyone definitely understands that and respects that. And it's a whole nother learning experience too, to really understand how to work with different people as well, which is kind of a non-curriculum addition to what you learn via the MCiM program. So it's tough, but you can do it.
Yeah, I think programmatic support, yes, and I think your program support and for me personally, it was like leadership support, both from the MCiM leadership side and the UPMC EP division side. And I was on a research year, so that helped. Like if I was 100% full-time practicing like clinical EP with like a day of clinic, 2 days of procedures and things like this, it probably would have been trickier to try to get every other Friday off, especially because I was commuting. So I would fly in on Thursday and then Friday, Saturday, and then take the red eye back. But I was on a 2-year research period. And then my program at UPMC was extremely supportive, as was the program at MCiM. So I think programmatic support's very helpful. And then the other thing is the groups that you work with, being very upfront about your situation and that you work full time. Everyone's really great about divvying up the work, and you work in groups. And so, if you're about to deliver a baby, or you have exams coming up, or you have something at work that has to be taken care of, you can always redelegate some assignments with your group mates to say, like, I'm gonna really take this off your guys' plate, and then maybe I'll lean on you a little bit on this other assignment, and you can kind of make sure you're pulling your weight while also able to cater to some urgent needs back home or at your job. So it's all about programmatic support, leadership support, and then delegating when you can and taking on extra when you can to make sure you're a good team player.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mehak and Megan, for sharing that. I have another question here from Rique Perez. His question is, what are your thoughts about how a prospective applicant such as myself should think about startup venture ideas that I am most interested in pursuing? For example, access to human, technical, and financial resources to convert an idea into a startup, a healthcare related firm. Does anybody have any experience or any thoughts on how to do that in the program?
Yeah, what comes to mind in thinking about that question is the biodesign class, right? The biodesign class, you absolutely learn how to create products that are centered on needs, not solutions. I often say, never be a solution in search of a need. Be super, super clear on what your need is, and then not just the needs, but what your users need, and then build from there, right? And so be prepared for your idea to change, and that's a good thing, right? Because if it changes, it means you're learning more about the need and your approach. So the biodesign program, or the biodesign course that is part of MCiM, definitely comes to mind with that question. But then also, as we've alluded to during our responses too, is you have access to other Stanford University courses. So you could take extra biodesign, startup garage, type lean launchpad classes. You absolutely have access to those classes where you can continue to incubate your idea. And I know a lot of people have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, in my class, it's not a small number of students participated, other schools, that kind of lean launchpad, or other like a venture cohort, venture challenges type of things. And then not only that, if you come to Silicon Valley, there are fluent opportunity of, joining those kind of mingling or startup idea events, even outside of the campus. So, it's not limited to Stanford. You can have plenty opportunity to doing that around this area. So that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I think we have examples of that from the last few cohorts of folks who had an idea, found a team, iterated, pitched to whether it was some of the accelerators within Stanford or in Silicon Valley in general, and got funding by the time they had their final practicum presentation. So it's definitely doable, and it's a really good environment, both inside campus and outside. And if it's like a clinical study you need to get started, I know for a fact people from my class and other classes have been able to collaborate with neurologists, nephrologists, specialists, dietitians, like folks who can help them kickstart even like a proof of concept study at Stanford to prove your startup idea, which that opportunity is huge as well.
Actually, I'm a first cohort person, so even my classmates, we have probably 2, 3 CEOs. Those, launched their company after the graduation.
Yeah, we like to do that. We usually have someone that has like a lot of experience as senior in their career, but we also have very junior people, and it's brings such a wealth of knowledge to the classroom to have folks from different stages on their careers as well. Um, Thank you so much for sharing this. There's another question from Michael's son here, and I would like to see what you can share with this group about career support or network opportunities that exist for MCiM students looking to pivot or accelerate into roles at startups at major health tech firms. Is that something that you utilized in terms of like our mentors network or internally at Stanford or MCiM that you can share with this group that's available, was available, still is available to you?
Yeah, I think some advice that came to mind for me, because I came into MCiM with all these ideas and plans, one of which was I am going to pivot out of healthcare systems into big tech. Apple was at the center of my attention. Needless to say, I'm sitting in a different role in the health system that I thought I was going to leave. I would say what Kevin told me when I preemptively had a call with him before class even started, to everything I think I know, I need to leave at the door and come in and be very open to what's about to happen in the experiences, because you might realize that through this experience, through your cohort, hearing the examples and the life stories in class, that you may find more out about yourself than you realized. While you're doing that, though, you're surrounded by 27 other people doing the exact same thing, and then hundreds of people in the network that you can reach out to immediately and talk about those things. So those networks are still there. I still talk with Mehak and Meagan often. It's a very close-knit group that you have access to. The WhatsApp groups still happen. There's a lot in the Bay Area. So any type of questions that you have, any question at all, there's a lot of support there to help you sort through those things and do some life planning. To Megan's point earlier, there's other programs on Stanford. There's 7 schools. There's a lot of things that are there to help you design your life and understand where you think you want to be or need to be in life.
That's fantastic. I have a question, Mehak, that I would like you to answer, but it's about supercommuters. And this student is asking, he's saying, I'm asking for someone hoping to join from London. And I want to answer real quick before I pass on to Megan. As the program is growing, we have tasked our supercommuters with providing us resources and tips, and we have start building a big guide for our supercommuters to be able to come to our program and do that. We have someone in our cohort commuting from Australia this year. So it is very doable, but Mehak, what can you share about being a supercommuter?
I think you lots of coffee. That always helps. But yeah, I flew across from Pittsburgh to Palo Alto. If you can get direct flights, that's great. Fly in a day early so you can get some rest. It's doable. I did it the whole time. Maybe I had one class that I attended by Zoom, like literally when I was like too late in my pregnancy to fly. But I think that if you plan ahead, look for direct flights, come a day early, and lots of caffeine. Those are my suggestions. But I will also send you a direct message with my phone number and we can chat more.
Thank you so much for doing that. And I have a question from Joanna, who she's saying, I'm a new grad nurse. I also consider going to grad school and become a provider. Should I consider this program after a few years of RN clinical experiences or after becoming a provider?
I would say do it now. Do it now. Come in with all the tools, come in with all, with all the background and experience and a different way of thinking. As a clinician, I can say that. that, you know, the sooner you learn how much you can branch out and how much your background expertise and even the desire to work in medicine, how much those things matter, I think the sooner the better. Because this health tech AI thing is just hockey sticking, right? So I would say do it now. If there's no other limitations that are not deferrable.
Yeah, and just to add, you never know what limitations might come up in the future, right? So if the time is right now, then do it now, because none of us know what the future holds.
All right. We are at the time. It's 6 p.m. I want to be very respectful of all your time and so thankful, Richie, Hiro, Megan, and Mehak for joining us today. This is being recorded. I will be sharing this with everybody who joined us today. For folks who are asking, portals will open in September 2025. So you still have time. I will pop in a few links in our email here on the chat, so you can grab that before you go. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions. I'm so thankful for this community and for our students to join in and sharing so much with us. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.